Everyone's in charge. Everyone got stacks upon stacks of them green and golden balls. Placed neatly in the back of their closet, stacked up they free walls. Be around the prettiest bitches you seen and you'd ever call. Yeah, can't pay for features or models, can't even pay for cars. Wanna talk about running the city, but can't even run the malls. Paying with these checks with their mouths, they asses steady taking falls. Kept they up and ducking till V connected in they balls. Now niggas crying and whining, got me here taking pause. Make me get a non-disclosure for interacting with every clause. I'm a #1 also with these nice niggas, they playing dodge. My moves stay like years ahead, your moves have been recalled. Try to be a better me, to get begging for an applause. Thinking I'm weak and forgetting I'm holding all these cards. With these receipts and not one of your bitches half as hard. No capping needed, the truth's revealed here in all this sauce. How you gon' come for me, stay at the top of my game, can't fuck with me. You know, when it comes to the game, we don't move the same, I'm who you wanna be. I go hard each and every day, never miss a beat, nah, not me. You gon' regret the day you ever stepped to me, better respect the queen. How you gon' come for me, stay at the top of my game, can't fuck with me. You know, when it comes to the game, we don't move the same, I'm who you wanna be. I go hard each and every day, never miss a beat, nah, not me. You gon' regret the day you ever stepped to me, better respect the queen.
Trees look in early fall. I don't ever get to see the pictures my kids draw. When my woman's car breaks down, I'm not the one she calls. You don't know the half. I don't throw the football in the yard with my boy. I can't read instructions and help him put together toys. Sometimes I raise hell and I might make a little noise, but you don't know the half. Well, I don't know how blue looks, but I can tell you how blue feels. I can't match the gas and go real fast and sit behind the wheel till you've walked in my shoes and been down his path. You don't know the half. I can smell fried chicken on a Sunday afternoon, and I can hear my children playing in my living room. And to me that's better than seeing the sun, stars, and the moon, but you don't know the half. Well, I don't know how blue looks, but I can tell you how blue feels. I can't match the gas and go real fast and sit behind the wheel till you've walked in my shoes and been down this path.
got a hit on Hassan.
We can't take him in Iran.
He's not in Iran. Who do we send?
All right, lads, well, we're in position.
Bravo team offloads here. Alpha team stays on board to land downrange. This is capture or kill.
Ya son más de 10 años metiéndole y todavía sueno como nuevo. Barbie no tiene relevo, me sobra el dinero, el respeto y los huevos. Yo, cada movimiento que hago, el juego otro nivel lo elevo. Tú sonaste, me pagaste y no lleva ni la mitad de lo que...
We're shifting! Watch the containers!
How the hell did Iran get their hands on this?
It's either Russia or us.
Anywhere I roam.
We need an army. Fucking get us an army.
Free to speak my mind anywhere. And I'll redefine anywhere.
Mexican Special Forces, 141, they are your brothers now!
Where I lay my head is home there.
Weapons hard, vaqueros. Pre-order now and get early access to the open beta.
Brockton is proud to be the city of champions. With a rich sports history, Brockton is the hometown of boxing greats Rocky Marciano and marvelous Marvin Hagler. The city's athletic legacy continues with the success of Brockton High School sports teams. Known for athletic excellence and good sportsmanship, the BHS athletic program was selected as the #1 athletic program in Massachusetts by Sports Illustrated. The school's Brockton Boxers have been a longtime powerhouse in high school football. In fact, the BHS football program has been regarded as one of the most storied, successful, and dominant high school football programs of all time. The BHS boys soccer team recently won their first state championship in 2017, leading them to be ranked 7th on USA Today's list of top high school soccer teams across the country. These are just some of the many reasons why Brockton is the city of champions.
Worst snowfall in its history. A raging blizzard that came in on winds of up to 100 miles an hour, bringing death and destruction to the whole region.
What we believe is happening, Carl, is that the president is likely to invoke the Stafford Act here. That's a procedure that was initially started back in the 1970s to deal with national disasters, and it unlocks funding from the federal government for FEMA to respond in localities that have been hardest hit. In this case, the possibility is that you're looking at a national declaration.
Ordered the U.S. Army to go in and do whatever it could to help. A report from Providence.
Story centers on the state of emergency declared this morning in Buffalo. News Center's Mike Pegasus explains.
Troops from across Massachusetts were in places like this. They boarded about 24 buses, and then they left from near Springfield, Braintree, and here in Melrose.
Winds will increase to 50 miles per hour tonight and continue through Wednesday.
Hey there, General Red Review here with Old Colony Pest Control. If you're having pest problems in a commercial or residential setting, we're the people to call. Veteran owned, based in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, Old Colony has been here servicing your homes proudly, and we plan to keep it up. Our team is fast, efficient, and reliable. We go above and beyond to cater each project's individual need. No task is too much for us, so give us a call. 774-400-5993. Again, the number is 774-400-5993. Hope to hear from you soon. General Red Review, out.
Watching someone endure an abusive situation can be difficult under any circumstances, and it is not always clear how best to respond when you see the warning signs of abuse. Your instinct may be to save them from the relationship, but abuse is never that simple. There are many ways that abuse appears, and there are many reasons why people stay in an abusive situation. Understanding how power and control operates in the content of abuse and how to shift the power back to those affected by domestic violence is some of the most important ways to support survivors in your life. Hi, I'm Renee Lynn Gonzalez, and those are the words from the National Domestic Violence Hotline website. And as a way to support others, I am a survivor. And a part of that is from the support of others I received. And if you know someone who is in need of help, support them by following those words and start by giving them this info. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-779-SAFE. That's 1-800-779-SAFE. Or you can visit the website and chat with a live advocate at www.thehotline.org. Thank you and God bless.
What up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. If you feel the need and you want to get in touch with the hot topics from today's headlines, you got to check out The Booth with Keith, Sinister One Hayes. Tell him Kevin Jackson sent you.
It's caught in the crossfire.
Stay at the top of my game, can't up for me. You know, when it comes to the game, we don't move the same. I'm who you wanna be. I go hard each and every day, never miss a beat. Not I made you go. Regret the day you ever stepped to me, better respect the queen. Oh no, it's me back up in this shit again. Thought you was coming, but you been hiding behind all them friends. You wanna play with me? You love shit, wanna play for free. Wanna pass, then get played for free. I'ma pass cause they already know that I'm good when I say I be. Never even know wanna play with me. Oh, it's not in your face with the fakery. You wanna talk about the last, but don't play with me. I'm real like the shit you tryna say to me. You try to stay with me. I'ma call like I see it, then believe it, cause you're not who y'all claim to be. Recouping all my investments, I don't play for free. Said I was weak and I was stressed, but wanna lay with V. Please. No. How you gon' come for me? Stay at the top of my game, can't up with me. You know, when it comes to the game, we don't move the same. I'm who you wanna be. I go hard each and every day, never miss a beat. Not I made you go. Regret the day you ever stepped to me, better respect the queen. Who know? How you gon' come for me? Stay at the top of my game, can't fuck with me. You know, when it comes to the game, we don't move the same. I'm who you wanna be. I go hard each and every day, never miss a beat. Not I made you go. Regret the day.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
This is blasphemy. This is madness. This is The Booth.
All right, it's your boy Sinister One broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching The Booth. And if you're looking at my surroundings tonight and you're probably like, damn, where Sinister One is out in the Manzebo tonight. You know, the weather's nice. I've been trying to do this all summer. And, you know, you might hear some car sounds. You might see some animal sounds because we got the chickens here. But, you know, it's a good time, you know, and I want to thank everybody real quick. I didn't have a guest on the show last week, but I got to thank everybody who showed up to see Veana Marie perform at YaBoi Loco's Back to School event down in Fall River. YaBoi Loco is a recording artist out of Fall River. He set up this event Back to School. He did backpacks, he had vendors, he had food and everything out there for the kids. A ton of people showed up in Fall River, and, you know, it's all about the community this time of the year because, you know, a lot of people, they need help. They need help this time. It's a tough time going on right now. And my first guest here is with me. But also, I got to mention, I got to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart who made The Booth an award-winning show. I've been doing this for years. Last week, The Booth took home Best Local Media for the 508 Awards show. Yes. And Sinister One Productions is holding it down. We've got 2 more things coming up. Oscar Mike Radio is holding it down. He's on tap for 3 awards. For Best Veterans Podcast Awards, the Podcast Veterans Awards, which is coming up, and I'm pretty ecstatic about that. But my first guest tonight, who's with me tonight, is Angel Cosme. He is from Mutual Aid Brockton. If you guys know what Mutual Aid does, I'm gonna let him kind of introduce and kind of explain, because there's a good reason that's going on. I was going to get my tattoo. It was the day I was going to get my tattoo.
That's right.
Angel was actually there, and he was talking to them about this community fridge program. So I went on, I think it was Chart X. I think it was the site. And Chart X has set this up, and they've got it going on all around the country. They're in New York, they're in Florida, these community fridges. So I feel like this is a very good program. They reached out to me, and he wanted to come on this show and talk about it. So I'm going to let Angel introduce himself, talk about how long he's been in this game. He's been doing a lot of stuff for the community, and we're going to get into this community fridge.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Glad to be here tonight, and this is definitely a cool little backdrop over here. It's a beautiful night here in the City of Champions. I'm Angel Cosme. I think, you know, I have been around in the community for almost 20 years here in the city. You know, raised my oldest son here. Brockton is a beautiful place. Brockton is an incredible community, and we've been doing some incredible things, and that I just want to share a little bit about Mutual Aid Brockton, how it came about, and how you can get involved in really supporting one another, right? So if we can all go back to the pandemic, and if you remember, at one point Brockton was number 2 in contraction rates of COVID-19. And so Brockton Interfaith, my employer, wanted to create a mutual aid program. Mutual aid programs have existed in this country for a long time, from, you know, indigenous practices to like the Black Panthers and the Young Lords, right? Like it's basically what it is just community supporting each other. Right. And so we did 3 things. We launched a Facebook page, which the link should be on the chat. And
yep, I saw it. It's in the chat. Yep.
Perfect. So you want to click on that Facebook page, become a member of Mutual Aid. So we have this platform. It has about 1,600 members on it. The idea is, if you need something, if you need diapers, if you need clothes, if you need a ride to the supermarket, if you need a little bit of help with your bills, that you can go on that space and ask for support. If you don't want people to know your business, right, then you can message the page and say, hey, can you make a post on my behalf? I've seen incredible things happen. You know, just like very early when we launched, a mom had a baby and she said she needed diapers, and I put out on the page, you know, woman needs diapers, and in minutes she had cash app. She received cash apps for her to get some diapers, right? And everything in between, all of that kind of stuff. So the second thing is, we did an assessment. We wanted to know, because of COVID, what concerns the residents were facing, right? And so we assessed them in a survey, and then we raised a lot of money.
Right.
We raised over $300,000 easily, nice. Right? And depending on the needs that were identified in the survey, we met the needs of the community. Mostly, it was food. It was food. People needed food. So we've been giving out food gift cards to Vicente. Shout out to Vicentes who have matched us plenty of times. We spent a lot of a lot of money on food gift cards in the community through our partners with Vicente's. So it's been a beautiful partnership. So the Facebook page, the assessment, and the raising of money. Here we are 2 years later, and we're still going. We're still raising money. We're still helping the community, and the Facebook page is a way to get resources, share resources, and ask for help. A branch of that, going to how you and I recently reconnected at the tattoo shop. I got to give credit, and this is not an endorsement, right? But just credit to Counselor Rita Mendez. Counselor Mendez called me and said, Angel, there's a lot of community refrigerators sprouting out across the country and the Commonwealth in Massachusetts. We need one in Brockton. And I said, I agree. And so we got a team together. And we've been meeting now probably 6 or 7 weeks. We meet mostly on Fridays at 11 on Zoom. Anybody who's listening, watching, can become a part of this thing that we're building. But basically what it is, it's a refrigerator that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Where if you go to the supermarket, corner store, and you want to buy an extra, dozen eggs, or you want to contribute a can of soup, you can go to the refrigerator and leave stuff there that you bought, and or take something that's from the refrigerator, right? There's a lot more that goes to it. There's protocols and processes, but it's from the community. By the community and available to anyone in the community. So I'm just gonna pause here and see, if you have any questions. We're now trying to solidify a host for the refrigerator. And so there's a couple of potential hosts I don't want to necessarily say because it's not official. Right. But we're getting closer and closer to getting a host. We're gonna do a big launch that everybody would be invited to. We're gonna make it a big event. And then our idea is that we'll launch multiple refrigerators in Brockton. East side, west side, north side, right? We're going to have one in each section. And so this will be the first launch coming hopefully really, really soon. And we're going to have some young people and some artists design the thing, really, decorating the refrigerator. But they're all over the place. They're in Fall River, they're in Lynn, they're in Boston, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're all over the country.
And they're not here.
All over the country, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're all over the country. I Googled community fridge, and it comes up, and they're all over the place. And there's one that was just put outside in New York, outside the bodega in New York, and they did it up all nice with the graffiti art and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
right.
They're very proud as to what's going on there with that community fridge. And I like the thing about Brockton is a very strategic city with all 4 sides. You have your north, east, south, and west sides. So you want to make sure that you hit those 4 areas to maximize that whole community profit that you're going to receive. Now, my question is okay, say like me, I have chickens. And sometimes for me, I end up 1 week with 88 dozen, 88 eggs, So is that something where I can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this down to the community fridge.
Absolutely.
I'm going to donate some of these fresh organic eggs.
Yep.
Boom,
absolutely.
And put them in.
And that's exactly the idea. And it could even be like 1 week, 1 day, it's nothing but eggs in there. Right? It could be another day, another week. It could be, we want to focus on meats, right? The possibilities are endless. We could be strategic in trying to make sure, like you said, organic, healthier type of food. And it'll self-regulate. A lot of people are saying, oh, what if somebody comes in and empties the whole thing out? Well, guess what? That means they needed it, right? And that means that we'll put an all-call out, the refrigerator's empty. Can we get some help? And the community will come and fill the thing up again the next day. Right. So we don't need to have a scarcity mentality. There's more than enough to go around. Vandalism and all those things we're not concerned about. We know that people need it. We're gonna have some protocols in place, but this is our refrigerator. So it's not mutual aid. It doesn't belong to me, to mutual aid. It's ours. And so in designing this and building this thing out and deciding what goes in and how we regulate it, I'm making an open invitation to anybody who wants to join us. We'll be on Zoom on Fridays at 11 a.m. And we got a good group. We got a good group of people. Some elected officials are involved in it. Some community members. But really, it's gaining more buzz, and we're getting closer. I think once we figure out the host, it's just a matter of ordering the refrigerator. Which, by the way, Mutual Aid has a grant that we are looking to see if we can purchase a refrigerator. We just made some choices as a collective because everything we do is democratic. So we had some refrigerator options, styles that we all chose from out of 5. So we have the choice of the refrigerator. We have the shelving because it's going to be weatherized, right? And it's going to have some shelving for non-perishables. So people can leave toilet paper and whatever you think that the community can benefit from. So we're really, really excited. This is for all of us, and more to come. But I'll be happy to talk more as it develops.
And you know, one of the things that I'm going to talk about, what this is similar to, that really took off, was the community book libraries, which was these little boxes, and you take a book or leave a book. You know, and I was like, man, you know, this isn't going to work. The people are going to take advantage of this. And I drive around just Brockton alone, and the community book is busy. It's popping. There's one over here by the school, the old school department. There's one at Walgreens over here. There's one on the south side, and I see people in there all the time.
That's right.
Taking books and leaving books. So this is almost that same thing.
Same concept.
It's that pretty much just like that. And like I said, you know, it's nice because I'd like to see some supermarket managers, and I can't put their names out there because I don't want to risk their jobs. But I've set up some events where I've had to feed the homeless and things, and I've had some managers, you know, go above and beyond and donate food when we all know legally they're not supposed to. You know, a lot of people talk about waste in supermarkets. It's the legality of it. That's why they have to throw it out, because people started suing for getting sick, for eating stuff out the trash that they should. You know, and that's what happens, why, you know, McDonald's and all these places lock up their stuff. Shaw's and them, they throw a lot of stuff away. But if you've got a good manager who knows that this is going to be better suited, you know, it'd be great to have those managers, and, you know, they could be discreet about it and do whatever. But it'd be nice to see some of those managers come on and do something.
Absolutely. If any supermarkets, bodegas, corner stores are listening and you want to support this project, you know, this is a community thing.
And keep it private.
And I will say also that the you know, the little free libraries, I go to them all the time. I go in, I look for books. I've taken books very recently.
There's one at the top of Frederick Douglass Ave.
There's one right there as well. Yeah, and I've seen them in other communities, but I haven't left books, but I have a lot of books that I could donate to. But that's the idea. I have a little extra. I might be able to give you a little extra. You might have a little extra to give me. Mutual aid, just to kind of bring it back real quick to the concept, there's no hierarchy. It's not about government. It's not about any particular organization. It's about neighbor helping neighbor. And it's been beautiful. And like I said, they're all over the country. Check out the page. Feel free to share information too. That's the other thing. If there's an event happening in Brockton that is beneficial, it's not necessarily a space for like selling things, or it's more of a space for like, I need something and you may be able to offer something. Like, it could be free backpack giveaways, a flyer. It could be learning English classes. It could be, we're gonna talk about the different you know, elections and the ballot questions, right? Anything that is educational or can help somebody, that's the space for it. It's about helping and supporting and having each other's back.
Right, and you know what? You brought something up too that a lot of communities don't do, and I feel like they need to do it more come election time. You know, a lot of elections, they have very important ballot questions.
Yes.
Now, everybody spends a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of walking around talking about who to vote for, who not to vote for. But sometimes the meat and potatoes of the vote is sometimes them ballot questions that set the tone for your community, for your state, for the nation. And I feel like that, you know, something like that should be done too. I feel like that when you have an election coming up and there's some very important ballot questions, that there should be some meetings had so someone could explain it, you know, more to these people, because you see a lot of these people, they go to vote, and I've seen people right in the voting booth and they're like, I don't know which one to vote for, because nobody really gave them any of that info. Everybody tells you who to vote for or who not, but nobody ever really explains those questions. And I saw that, you know, you saw that with there was a health insurance question way back, the marijuana question way back. You know, everybody sees all the commercials that try to warp you or twist your mind, but nobody ever really explains it, especially like going around to the high rises and things like that. You know, I think that's something that really needs to be done. But What is your tentative date for this to kick off? Do you guys have a tentative date?
So we don't have a tentative date, but we want to definitely do it this year.
Okay.
Before like it starts snowing, right? I know that sounds really vague, but we're ready to launch. I think it's just a matter of solidifying the host.
Yep.
Because we need electricity, right? The host
Correct.
is going to donate the electricity. That's about it. They don't have to maintenance it. They don't have to monitor it. That's us. We're going to have a process
Right.
in place for you to call if there's issues and things like that. So I would say within the next month or two, and just about your ballot real quick, they make those confusing on purpose, right? There's two ballot questions that I know of that I'm not going to tell you how to vote, right? But just informing you. Question 1 is about the Fair Share Amendment. The Fair Share Amendment will tax millionaires, which only affects like 1% of the population. It'll tax people who make over $1 million from 5% to 9%. By doing that, it generates $2 billion in tax revenue that goes directly to education and transportation for the Commonwealth. And then it's up to us to make sure that Brockton is getting a piece of that.
Right, exactly.
So if you support that, that would be yes on question 1. If you don't support it, obviously no on question 1. I'm not sure what the second ballot question is. It could be 2 or 3, but the other one that I know of, and this is something personal and important to me, in the work that I do with immigration, is the Work and Family Mobility Act.
Okay.
This was an act that, regardless of your documentation status, in Massachusetts, it was just passed. You could get a driver's license. That is going to be it's going to take effect in July of 2023. However, the opposition, folks who didn't agree with that, have collected enough ballot signatures, we believe, that are certified by the Secretary of State to put that on the ballot, to reverse the law. So they're looking for you to say no, to question whatever it's going to be, and those that are in favor of it, that you wanna say yes to the bill remaining in effect. Right. So those are 2 ballot questions. Do your homework. I'll never tell you how to vote. My work with Brockton Interfaith is nonpartisan, right? So we're never going to endorse a candidate. We're just educating you. We can tell you who's running.
Right.
The other 2 really important races, depending on where you're from, is sheriff. In Plymouth County, we don't have a sheriff running.
Correct.
But we do have a DA. So do your homework around the DA. It's a critical role. And we do have a DA race here in Plymouth County, too.
Right. Good stuff. And Angel is here with me again. We're here with Mutual Aid Brockton. And like I said, they do a lot in the city. And, again, this is my first time. I've been trying to do a show from the backyard. The weather's been great. I've been wanting to have guests come, and it's going to open up a lot for me. I'm actually going to be doing some work in the garage and transferring the garage over to a studio too. But, it's going to allow me to be able to have people that come here to perform, do some performances with us. I notice my camera is the light's going in and out, even though I do have a camera here on us. It's doing it on its own, so we'll take care of that little glitch the next time I'm doing this show. But again, Angel, talk about where people can get in touch with you, where they can get in touch with Mutual Aid, where they can get in touch with Follow This Fridge. Now, I think it was, like I said, it was Chart X was the website that had all the community fridges and all those programs.
Yes. So if you want to learn more about Mutual Aid, in the chat, there's the Facebook page. If you go on Facebook and you type Mutual Aid Brockton, you can join and be part of that community. You can also email mutualaid@brocktoninterfaith.org if you want to send an email. You could reach me directly, 617-982-8129. Text me, ask me questions, tell me that you want to be a part of it. I can send folks the Zoom link. If you do join the Mutual Aid page, you'll see actually a flyer in the next couple days about the next refrigerator meeting, and it's open again. So join us, absolutely. It's for you, it's for me, it's for us to build each other up.
And it's good stuff. Like I said, I'm going to try to get in. I'm usually at work when you guys have those meetings.
Yep.
And I was going to do one last Friday when you had one. I was invited in. And then all hell broke loose at my job. I had to take care of, you got to put the fires out, it gets busy. Being up there at Logan, sometimes things happen. But I got to try to get on a Friday and just see what's going on and listen in and just kind of see what you guys got planned and how you guys are going to need some help. And like I said, my thing is even if you, a lot of times you go shopping and I hit that clearance rack. Sometimes I'll see stuff on that clearance rack that I'm not going to use. But I'm like, damn, that's a good bargain.
Yes.
So I might say, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my deed for the week, you know, and get some stuff off that clearance rack at Shaw's. You know, sometimes Shaw's has meats that I don't eat. I'm not a fan of. But sometimes you walk in there at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and anything that didn't sell from the sale the week before, they've got it mad cheap. So you can take that meat and say, you know what, here's my deed, and boom. And, you know, it's great. It's great to see. I can't wait to see what happens with these people who are going to host these fridges, because, again, most of these businesses are writing off their electricity as a business anyway.
Right.
You know,
that's a little incentive for businesses out there looking to host.
Exactly.
And if you want to host the refrigerator, we're also looking for more launches. So please, you know, contact me. But you, on live, you said that you would donate some of your fresh eggs to the refrigerator, so we can count on you. I'm making it public.
Shoot, yo.
Yes.
We
got some organic eggs coming.
I could go in and give you some right in your hand before you leave the show, but you don't have a fridge yet. But I
appreciate it.
And the sun's going to be going down, so their production will drop a little bit.
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I just had 88 eggs the other day, 48 the 2 weeks before that. So, you know, if we're not baking a lot, the eggs sit here. And what's good, you know, and here's the funny thing about eggs, people. You know, I've got chickens now. People laugh and joke about it, but it's not no joke, people. To be honest, I'm just going to tell you. I feel like, I've never said this on the show before, but I feel like the government lies to us sometimes. You know, and there's some things that I'm not this conspiracy guy, but there are some things that I'm like, damn, this is so easy, Angel. When I say that chickens are the most easiest, most profitable thing in life, I say to myself, and what happened was, and how this all went down was when COVID hit, I went to Shaw's to buy eggs, and everybody was buying everything, so they limited to 1 dozen eggs per family.
Yeah, I remember that.
When it first really hit. And I'm like, damn, at that time, I had like 6 kids in the house, you know, 4 other adults. My older boys were here. And I'm like, hey, I says, you can't just limit people to 12 eggs. Well, that's what it is per family, or you would have to bring other people in, and then you'd have to run that gauntlet. And I'm like, you know what? Me and my son, it was Easter Sunday, my stepson, we were in Tractor Supply Company, and they had chickens for, they were marked down because it was Easter Sunday, and they were marked down to 25 cents a chicken.
For the chicken? For the
chicken, baby chicks. Whoa. So I bought 12. Boom. I bought 12 chickens at 25 cents a chicken. Raised them in the house for 6 months. 6 months, you put them outside. The most expensive thing I bought for my chickens was the coop, which was $329. The coop. I bought my food right out the gate. I bought my food in the biggest bags possible, which was 50-pound bags. Yep. A 50-pound bag of cracked corn is $14.99. Wow. A 50-pound bag of chicken feed is $19.99. So I'm about $30 a month in food. $30 a month for chicken food.
Okay.
I mix that up. I put in the barrel. I mix it up. I feed it to them. I got a 50-gallon feeder, and I put that all in there. Water. Now, there's some friends. I got to thank the friends who have helped me with chickens. I used to run around here at night and chase them and get them into the coop, right? Yeah. So I had a friend. She told me, she's like, "Why are you chasing them?" I said, "Oh, I don't want them to." She's like, "Wait till the sun goes down and just watch what they do." Sure enough, the sun goes down. Chickens put themselves away every night in the coop. They put themselves in the tree. Yeah. They put themselves away every night. The second thing is I would clean their coop and bag it and put it in the trash. My friend, she says to me, "What are you doing?" She says, "That's gold." She's like, "Chicken poop is pure nitrogen. Put it on your front lawn and your brown patches will be gone." Wow. Nothing with a chicken goes to waste. Your house scraps off your table plates that you don't eat. My chickens know when I open this window, they know they come because they know I'm taking food scrapings, and they'll eat everything. You just don't give them peppers. Yeah. But chickens have done everything, and now I'm finding out when I clip their wings, I was told that their feathers are pure keratin. So I was told that if you take that up and grind them up and put them with coconut oil, it's a fresh skin. Like a ointment. It's like pure keratin. It's like a vitamin for your skin. Wow. Nothing goes away. So I'm sitting there, I'm saying to myself, so the government takes eggs and they bleach them and do whatever and they refrigerate them and then they go bad. They have an expiration date. What I found out was, and this is crazy stuff, people. This is fascinating. When you have chicken eggs, you don't refrigerate them. You get your chicken eggs and you can leave them out for months.
I heard that too.
Because chickens, when they lay an egg, They have a protective coating around that egg that protects the egg
Yeah.
from anything from the outside.
Yeah.
So you can just leave them on your table. That's why when you saw pictures of farms in the school books and you saw eggs in a basket on the table, it's because eggs don't go bad. They only go bad because they bleach them and do all this crap before they ship them out, or they've sat forever before they ship them out, and then then they refrigerate them, then you have to put them. But you don't have to. And it's been, I'll tell you, Angel, I feel like there's some things that they lie to you about, because I'm a city guy, and it's been the most easiest, most beneficial thing.
It sounds so exciting. Like I don't own a house, but you're convincing me to explore.
Man,
if I did,
I've had 2 other buddies that have now done it, and they've hit me up and they've been like, man,
thank you. Right?
This is insane. I'm
do
like,
you eat the chickens too?
No,
Or
but you can.
yet? Okay.
But you can. So Tractor Supply Company, they do sell meat
In
chickens.
Avon?
In Holbrook.
Holbrook. That's right.
And you do, and what you do with the meat chickens is meat chickens, they get fatter
they're
and
different.
bigger.
They're
They are
okay.
different.
Okay.
They're pullets. So what they do is the Cornish or whatever you get, you feed them for 6 months. Then at that 6th month, you take them to the butcher and let the butcher. So right down here we have Chotley's, the old Chotley's, which is now the Brockton Meat Market.
Okay, yep.
So I would take them, if I was to do something like that, I'd raise them for 6 months, and then I would bring them down there.
Okay.
What I say is, you go to Tractor Supply Company, meat chickens is chicks. They're about $1.59.
Wow. So
you do that math. You go down there and you get 6. It's like $6.
Pay for itself.
It's going to pay for itself in 6 months.
And then daily, right? It'll pay itself.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, I'm getting eggs every day. I go out here every morning. We go out. We get the eggs and we bring them in. Fresh omelets.
Wow.
When she bakes stuff, it's fresh eggs. My stepson, when he comes over, when the weather's nice, he would sleep, get up in the morning, he would go right out to this. He'd push the hen off and get the fresh and bake a 3-egg omelet. Boom.
Wow.
And it tastes so much better.
Yeah.
So
you're
trust and believe me, when you guys get this
feeding
going,
yourself, right, without having to go to the supermarket, right?
Yeah.
It's self-sustaining. We've got plans. We've got cooperative plans to do things like community gardens and stuff like that. More to come in the pike.
Spices right there, Dollar Tree.
Okay.
4 for $1
I
for
see.
seeds.
Yes.
And she put this out here.
Oh.
And we got chives, we got thyme.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, we got to change the way we eat. Pac said, right? We got to change the way, like we got to be able to grow more food. And I think Brockton has an incredible opportunity to do those types of community gardens. And there's some out there, right? But on a much larger scale, we could feed ourselves and eat healthier.
Well, the Cape Verdean community and Haitian community, you got to give them props, because they were the ones that really forced Brockton to get rid of the old restrictive laws in regards to livestock.
Yeah.
For a while there, you couldn't have any chickens or any goats or things of that sort in Brockton. But, Cape Verdeans and Haitians, they know how to raise animals for, sustainability.
Right.
And that ended up getting changed to where they made it a bigger area. And now you drive through Brockton, and you do see a lot of people now, a little section for corn. I know there was a guy over here on Court Street. He was growing corn on his property. There's another place I saw. He has corn and he has goats and he has chickens. So I'm like, Brockton is becoming this place where you can go to the supermarket and get super certain stuff, but you can self-sustain.
Shout out to my Cape Verdean and my Haitian brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Also my Latinos, right? Puerto Ricans and other
Yep.
Who grows, right? But on that note, I just want to make a quick announcement.
Yeah, go for it.
In October, just stay tuned. We'll get you the details. We're gonna have a big event for our immigrant community here in Brockton.
Oh, so for all the immigrants, not just the separate, everybody.
All immigrants in Brockton. We have a blueprint. We've been doing our research about what makes communities more thriving, welcoming, inclusive for all. And so we're going to present some things to the elected officials around our research. Stay tuned. We have an immigration team looking at immigration issues. Brockton, remember, we have a high immigrant population here, but we are the only majority black city in New England. And I don't know if everybody knows that. Look it up. It's official.
Yeah.
The City of Champions is the only majority black community in New England, and it not necessarily African American,
right.
Which does include it includes that population, but arguably majority black because of the high immigrant populations who consider themselves black.
Correct.
So and we know that with communities like Brockton, there's inequalities. If it like there's a South Shore Community Health Survey that shows that Brockton is higher in a lot of measures around poverty and healthcare and on than other communities. So we got to do a lot better, and we're just calling attention to the conditions and the possibility for us to all thrive in this beautiful community. As diverse as ours.
And you know, you're around doing a lot of stuff in the community. I know there's another community of people that seems to be growing in Brockton, are Guatemalan.
Yes, and the Ecuadorian.
Is it growing? Yeah, is that growing as fast as it looks like to me?
It I don't know the numbers, but I did hear from one of the school committee members that there is a growing subset of Guatemalan Ecuadorian in the school system that is presenting challenges because of the linguistic and cultural barriers. So we have to pay attention to that. And you know, Latinos, we're not all the same. There's like 20 countries that represent what you may call Hispanic, Latinx, Hispanic, etc. But we have to those particular communities are somewhat isolated, and that it's our responsibility, right, to help them to feel like they're part of Brockton.
Right.
They're here. They're not going anywhere. Arguably, what your opinion is about the documentation status is you know, that's your opinion. Regardless of that, they're here. They're our neighbors. They're not. You know, the rhetoric around immigration that is oppressive and false, that's not who's here, right? And there are some bad apples. We know that there's bad apples everywhere. but Brockton is a community that started like European immigrants, and now it's more diverse and from different parts of the country. But it's our Brockton. It's our Brockton. Wherever you come from, we're all here, so let's make it a better place for all of us.
You know, I don't like to get started because, you know, I've been involved in discussions of immigration because Ken Diesel, who was an immigration lawyer on this show, from time to time, we've really touched base deeply on immigration. I've had some knockdown, drag down fights with people, and, you know, I felt like, you know, Newbie did a good film that was about immigration. Covered it. You know, and you know how President Trump made it this racial thing. You know, you made it about the Mexican immigrants, but you didn't talk about all of these Polish immigrants who were coming in and working in South Boston or Canada. And then the other thing that I like to tell people is I had it out with someone, and I told them one time, you know, people talk about immigrants coming here and taking that money illegally and blah 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 blah. And I said, okay, here's something, and I'll tell you, I worked at the MBTA for years, and I said, who does more damage to the American economy? Illegal immigrants, or what about the Haitian or the Cape Verdean or the, let's see, Dominican? I've seen this at the MBTA. All of these people, and I had a Haitian immigrant. He came, he never got naturalized, he never got his citizenship. He just kept renewing. Worked at the MBTA for 29 years. Guess what he did at 29 years? He retired, took his pension, and moved to Haiti. Who causes more damage to the economy? That guy who came in and was working an $8 an hour job? Or the guy who worked here for 20 years, who we think is going to retire and spend his money here, but instead takes all that pension money that goes every month to Haiti, and he's living like a king. Unfortunately, this person ended up getting killed. He didn't even last a year. But this happens. This happens with Saudi Arabians. They come here, they get an education in medical, and then they leave. They take this country and they leave and take that money with them. So who's really causing more damage?
That's an interesting perspective.
And when I tell that to people, they say, "Wow, I never thought of it that way." I'm like, "Yeah." Because people who come here, they do it legally, but they never finalize their citizenship, and then they retire and take that money back to their country with them. Who's the real threat to this?
Interesting. It reminds me. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not an immigrant, right? But if you line up 5 Puerto Ricans and 5 Mexicans and Guatemalans, right? Like the systemic racism, they're not going to differentiate who's who, right?
Right.
But my point in saying that is, like, my father never made more than $9 an hour. I love my father. He's my hero. Never made more than $9 an hour. Worked in a factory in Rhode Island, and saved enough money to buy a house, build a house, and now he's retired with my mom in Puerto Rico. But there's an irony to that, in that he's a U.S. citizen by birth. Since 1917, Puerto Ricans have citizenship. But my father cannot vote for the president because in the presidential election. So it's arguably second-class citizenship. There's a person sitting in Congress that represents Puerto Rico who can't vote in congressional situations. So we've got some issues. It's not just immigration.
No, wasn't there was a vote to become the 51st state?
Yes.
And what happened with that? I forget what happened with this last vote.
In Puerto Rico, it was close. I forget the numbers.
Yeah, it was real close last one.
I think the statehood has won several times. It's a contentious politics in Puerto Rico is on another level. It's ugly everywhere, but it's really dirty there. But there's basically the party that wants to become the 51st state, which has a lot of supports because of what I just said. Some people believe for it to be full equality that it has to become a state, so the proper compensation and representation. Some people want to become independent. I am one to lean towards independence because I believe every nation should be sovereign. Right. I believe that we have the ability to be self-sustaining and sovereign like any other free nation. But there are benefits to becoming a state. The third option is just to remain as is, which is a commonwealth in this kind of neo-colonial situation. But
nice, good stuff. So let's get into our show. I'm gonna get into the show right now. I'm gonna get into my sponsors real quick. Michael Douglas Barreto, MDB Electronics. If you need your controller fixed or repaired, this is the guy to get them out to. You're back in 24 hours, back to gaming. Veana Marie, music heard everywhere. I cut that new intro tonight with her music, with the scene from Straight Outta Compton. I hope she was able to see that. I hope she got a laugh out of that. Also, Tactical Target Systems. When I go to the range, I got those zombie targets to check out. That's where I get those. And then all the people who have won T-shirts from I Love Boston Sports, I got to thank them for supporting the show. I Love Boston Sports for being a supporter. Also, we support veterans here. Carbonell, veteran-owned business, Old Colony Pest Control. Check them out. If you've got pests, give this guy a call. And we're going to get into the news booth. And news booth here locally. First thing I'm going to mention, big ups to Joe Angelo's 30-year celebration last Friday night. 30-year business in the game. Not many businesses can tout that longevity here in this area, and some people can say whatever they want about Joe Angelo's. The positive side is that they've been here for 30 years. They provided jobs for 30 years. They provided a place for people to go for 30 years. You have some bad with the good, and you have good with the bad. But the one thing is you got to give them congratulations. Joe Angelo's been here for 30 years, and they've hosted a lot of events. I remember Brockton Junior Boxers football. Pop Warner, our second year, he hosted a spaghetti dinner for us down there, and we made a ton of money with a spaghetti dinner down at Joe Angelo's. So
shout out to Joe Angelo, celebrating 3 decades.
It's crazy. It's insane, and there's not many guys. There's not many left in Brockton. Joe Angelo's, Cape Cod Caffe. We lost the Italian Kitchen. We lost George's. No disrespect to the new owners of George's, but these are businesses that have been here for a very, very long time, and we want to make sure we shout out Joe Angelo's in his 30 year. PROVA was set to close out the season. There was a break-in to their storage shed, and somebody stole the generators from them. So I got to give a big thanks to the Mayor of Brockton and Steve Hooke, Emergency Management System. I think he's out of Holbrook and he's doing Brockton. But they were able to secure a couple of generators, I think a 10,000 watt generator, and PROVA will be able to close out the season this week. So Thursday and Friday, people head down. It's a diamond in the rough. Definitely diamond in the rough. Have you been able to make it down there?
I haven't this year, but Thursday and Friday the last.
This is the last of the season. There was supposed to be an extension, but they didn't get the extension, if I'm not mistaken. And but it's good to see them back. And like I said, Thursday and Friday will be the last night. Also in Brockton, another sad story here, man.
This one hurts too.
JJ's Cafe, and you know what? This is something that's going to be debated in the city of Brockton for the longest time until they come back. JJ's Cafe was one of the top breakfast spots probably in the Northeast, to the point where JJ's Cafe for breakfast had people coming into Brockton that were like, I don't care what Brockton has for a stigma. I'm coming to JJ's for my breakfast on Sunday morning. And I remember going one time, there was kids from a college 20, 30 miles away, and they came all the way here on a Sunday for breakfast. And the chef down there, Chef JJ, was phenomenal. but he retired. And you know, COVID hit, and you know, there was a lot of things they had to revamp and rethink. And if I'm not mistaken, during COVID, there was a rumor out there that JJ's was supposed to move into a bigger place, somewhere closer to downtown, and when they would open, that they would be a breakfast spot, but they would be open later to provide maybe bigger lunches and dinner.
Okay.
When COVID, you know, died down and things started to open back up, JJ's opened and became this bowl, you know, this whole different idea. And I think it was, I'm not going to lie, I think it was a shock to the community because everybody was waiting 2 years for JJ's to come back for breakfast. And then they came back and it wasn't breakfast. It was these bowls. Yes, it was quick, you know, and they were good. They still had good food, but I think it was a shock to everybody because everybody waited 2 years. They wanted breakfast back. Yeah. And they didn't get it. What are your thoughts? Because I know it's been a lot of noise.
Yeah. I love JJ's Cafe, and I too was waiting. I have a buddy who constantly he would post on Facebook his invitations to friends of his, and he would meet at JJ. So I told him, man, when am I getting that invite to JJ? So he has me on the list, but then this happens. I am hearing though. I think I did read recently what you were saying is that there's the possibility that they would be coming to a downtown area.
Pop-ups. They're going to be doing pop-ups. And
coming
Chef
up.
JJ will be back to cooking. So that's what
so
the
it's not over
release.
Completely.
Yes.
Right.
So they're just trying to figure it out. And my thing is hey, city, you've got a lot of properties downtown before the property values go up because, as you know, West Elm Court Hotel has changed and it's all revamped and they're all going to sell. Those condos are all going to sell down there. That's all prime real estate down. So I would love to see JJ's down there right next to Brockton Beer.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to see them down there and hold it down. But, you know, I'm rooting for JJ's. You know, whatever they do, I'm there to support them. The hash bombs are good. The food is good.
That's a tight family, an excellent cook and a staple in our city. So we'd love to see them succeed.
Yeah, because people, I mean, everybody's out there. They're debating because a lot of people were, you know, and you got it. A lot of people were unhappy with the change to the bowls because their niche was breakfast.
Good breakfast. I've been there a couple times. They had a nice little meeting room in the back.
Yeah, that creme brulee, the hash bombs. You know, they kept the hash bombs, but that creme brulee was out of control. So we'll see. Again, Fall River, your boy Loco, back to school event. It was a great success, so I got to give props to him. WBZ Unveils what pissed me off. Critical preventive maintenance inspections were not taking place. No secret about the MBTA. Anybody who knows me, I worked for the MBTA for 23 years. And if anybody asked me why the MBTA was having the problems that it was having recently, and I tell people the two things. There were two major things that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s that hurt the MBTA to the point of where it is today. One of those reasons, and people I've said should have been fired and went to jail. The problem is that when the Big Dig ran over in funding, the state and people who were working under the state, the mayor, all them people back then who should have been in jail, they took money from the T because the T was flourishing with a ton of money. And what they did was they did two things. They took money from the MBTA budget to keep those overages for the Big Dig at bay, number one. And then number two, a lot of people don't know this about government. They turned the T into what we call is a forward funding entity. Now, if you're an office building, you can forward fund because it runs the same every day, every year.
What does that mean to forward fund?
So for transportation, forward funding. So what it is that you could no longer say we're going to need this much money and then they're going to throw it. The government's going to just throw it to you and then you run. So when you say now we're going to forward fund the MBTA, in other words, what the state and it says is that okay, we're only going to give you, let's say, $20 million to operate, and then if things happen, you can ask for it in the next budget.
The difference of what you may need.
Okay. So what happens is with transportation now, when you get forward funding, your business in transportation now becomes reactive versus proactive. Before forward funding began, the MBTA was a proactive company because they had a ton of money. So they could say, well, we're going to need these buses to have this done before this happens. Let's sink the money into this and get this done. They didn't do that with forward funding. When forward funding happened, they said, here's your money for this budget for this year. You make it work, and if it doesn't work, then you can ask for more money, but you're not guaranteed. So, like, let's take the Orange Line this year, for example. It's way restrictive.
Right.
So you could have an entire year on the Red Line, say, with no breakdowns, and you're forward funded. But you go to the board and you say, well, we'd like to buy new trains. We need to get new trains. And the forward funding is going to say, well, why would you need trains? Because
it's working.
It's working. The system is working. So when all these people are complaining about the MBTA and saying, oh, they need to be this, and it's like, you don't get it. You understand. That's not how it works. The T is in this problem because the government created it by making them a forward funding company. By making them forward funding, it made the MBTA a reactive company. So when you see breakdowns and they happen, then they react, and then they get overtime, and then people pay, and people say, oh, that's the T not doing the job. No, the government made them that way. The government made them that way because that's how they fund them.
The funding source who's funding the T
is right. That's right. And this is part of the reason why forward funding is that, and then the overages of the big dig is another one. And there's a lot more, but you know, it's the T is getting bashed for a lot that it's undeserved. It's undeserved. It was self-created by other people who should be answering for it, and they're never going to answer for it.
Am I right that there's a big hiring push?
Yes, because they've been short-handed because forward funding only allows, you know, you've been able to do it with this, or you've been able to do it with that. Why would you need this? And then you would say, well, you know, we need this, but, well, you know, you're filling the spots, people are taking overtime, you know, this, and this is what happens. So, you know, the T needs to go back to being run like a proactive. Transportation, you need to be proactive because you have to be in compliance with the DOT. You have to be in compliance with the feds, with your EMS. You have to be in compliance with all these things. And the only way you can be in compliance with all these things in safety and NTHSB and all these people is to be proactive. Being reactive kills the MBTA. I'm just letting you know. Anybody wants to call me on that, any press out there, I'll be ready to talk. Hyundai's new EV Ioniq 6. Now I drove the Ioniq 5 when it came out. My job bought 2 of them. These EVs sold 37 pre-orders in 4 hours. So anybody who thinks that electric vehicles are not coming,
37,000.
They're coming. 37,000 in 4 hours pre-orders. 37,000 people in 4 hours. These are coming. EVs are coming. And here's the thing about EVs that's pissing me off right now. I just saw the EV bills from the electric company for our 2 cars at our job alone. And for 1 month, one of our cars was $197 for the month for electricity to charge it. But what pissed me off about the electric charges is, and I've told people this before when this whole argument of the gas plant came up here in Brockton. When you take your bill out, people, stop paying attention. Read your bill, your gas bill, your electric bill. Because you're going to get pissed off because what you pay for supply versus delivery is insane. So for the electric car to charge it, it was $48. But because Eversource got it delivered, got the electricity delivered from Canada or wherever, it was $197 for the delivery charge.
Whoa.
So your $197, you know, it was like $130 something. So it came out to like $200. But what I'm saying is, you look at your bill. It comes with your gas bill. You look at your gas bill. You may have spent $36 a month for gas, but the delivery charge is going to be like 90 something because they get it from wherever. A lot of people don't realize that, and that's something that's not negotiated. I feel it's something the Fed should regulate and start saying, hey, because that was my whole argument when they wanted to put the gas plant in an area that it was zoned for. I was like, well, guess what, people? If you get a natural gas plant here, the delivery charge is going to be almost zero. So your gas bill is going to be almost pennies of a dollar. It's going to be $30 or whatever it's going to be during the winter seasons. But this is how this whole thing works. But keep an eye on that, because that's just the Hyundai. 37,000 pre-orders in 4 hours. Chevy's got this. On the market. Yeah, Chevy, Kia got a real nice one coming out. So I want to see what they're going to do for their pre-orders. But it's coming, people. It's coming. In the legal booth, Mar-Lar-Go documents, over 200 plus documents. I've got my legal guys on next week, so I'm going to table this story because President Trump does have a lot to answer for people who don't know what's really going on here. Every president is allowed to keep top secret documents that are over that top secret level. And my guy is in the military. He'll talk about it next week. But there is a top secret level of document that a president can have that he only shares that info with other presidents and the highest security people. So these are things like, taking like a bin Laden out or something. That's all high tier. The problem here is that some of these documents that Trump has, they're not those type of papers. These are other papers. So it's asking the question, well, what was he going to do with these papers?
Are they higher levels or lower levels?
Some of it was top classified. Some of these were declassified by him that should have never been declassified. This is where this whole thing where the National Security Archives has come in, and they've pretty much, they're tweeting all the time. They're burying Trump. They're saying, well, this is what's happening here. No other president has not turned in their documents. You're the first one. Wow. So this is going to get ugly. People really need to pay attention to it. But R Squared, the last time I talked to him, he feels that this voter scandal in Georgia and Arizona is what's really going to hang President Trump, as far as trying to manipulate and coerce those votes that they never happened. So it's going to get interesting.
Stay tuned next week.
Yeah, stay tuned. Yeah. My guys are coming on. I've got legal guys. He's a U.S. Air Force, U.S. Army Colonel. He's coming on, and Ken Diesel is a defense attorney, so he'll be on the show. In the entertainment booth, I'm pissed off, people. Actor Bill Murray visited the restaurant in Mattapoisett on Sunday night. Bill Murray, one of my favorite actors, he was down here checking out a golf tournament. The reason why I'm pissed is because Saturday night, me and my artist Veana Marie, she performed at the YaBoi Loco in Fall River. We stopped that night at 10 o'clock in Applebee's in Fall River. Okay. And we were eating, and I'm watching the Patriots game, and I'm looking. And across me, there's a guy. I'm like, damn.
This guy looks
I'm saying, this dude looks familiar. And I'm looking, and I said, Veana, I said, look at that guy over there. And she looks at him. I said, don't he look like Bill Murray? And she looks at me, she's like how women do. Why would Bill Murray be here at Applebee's, in Fall River? I pick up the paper, and I'm like, this dude was here. He was in that area. Mattapoisett. I'm like, so that was probably him on Saturday night.
Missed an opportunity.
I'm like, man, because I would have went over to him
But you saw him.
I seen him, but I would have loved to have got my picture with him.
Ghostbusters, right?
Ghostbusters, Zombieland, Caddyshack, Saturday Night Live. So I'm sharing that. The only reason why I share this story is because it's so funny. Because Saturday night I was like, that dude looks like Bill Murray, but he was old, his hair. Then I seen the picture. I'm like, oh my God, that was him. That was him.
He was in town.
Oh,
Shout
man.
out to Bill Murray.
Also in the entertainment booth, Daredevil Born Again is announced, and it will be premiering on Disney Plus. I can't wait. Charlie Cox is going to lock this down. The Kingpin will be back. They're saying Mike Coulter will be back as Luke Cage. Jessica Jones will be back. The Punisher is definitely going to be back. Wow. No word on Iron Fist yet, but I'm pretty sure Iron Fist. I'm pretty ecstatic about the MCU shows. Everything they do turns to gold. And you're a fan of these MCU shows you have time to watch?
I haven't started. I don't watch TV as much as I used to. I used to watch TV all the time, but I'm just in the trenches. But I have to.
Streaming will take your soul. It will take your soul.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
In the sports booth, the Masked Singer Tom Brady rumors continue. There's supposedly a clip was leaked of Ken, the comedian, the Vietnamese comedian, guessing that somebody is Tom Brady. And it's a quick clip. I've always said this. I'm going to watch The Masked Singer. If there is a GOAT on this season's Masked Singer, that's going to be Tom Brady.
Whoa.
Now, Tom Brady this week, he showed up to camp. They asked him again, where was he? Was he in the Bahamas? Blah, blah, blah. Tom Brady's answer pretty much was, dude, I'm 45 years old. I'm going through a lot of shit. That's why I wasn't here. And he kept it moving. You know?
Okay, who knows? Wow. Like he needs something else under his belt. I wouldn't be surprised. But the man does it all, apparently.
So
wow.
It'd be crazy if he gets on there and he won. It'd be like insane. Also, Jackson, Mississippi people. Now, you're a community guy. We're going to get into this question right here. Jackson, Mississippi is right now without water. Wow. Sports conspiracy theorists are looking at this and saying, this is kind of funny because guess what else starts this week in Jackson, Mississippi? College football. HBCU. Black college. Deion Sanders is the head coach. The most successful season they had in the history of that school was last year. The most people attended those games in the history of black community colleges. Of all the league, there was a rumor that they wanted to have Jackson State University play the big time Alabama this year. And Deion was like, no, it ain't happening. I'm not selling my kids' souls for a paycheck. I need to get bigger linemen, and then maybe we can talk about playing in Alabama. And he pretty much was saying, I'm not just going to sell my kids for a check so everybody else can get rich off it. Right. Well, gee, how funny is it now? Here we are a month later, Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi, they have no water. I'm going to let you listen to this because you're a community guy, and this is gonna be one of these things that are going to piss people off. So let's do this. This is it right here.
Hit with look crisis in the city of Jackson. We don't have water. Water means we don't have air conditioning. We can't use toilets. We don't have water. Therefore, we don't have ice, which pretty much places a burden on the program. So right now, we're operating in crisis mode. I got to get these kids off campus, the ones that live on campus, the one that lives in the city of Jackson, into a hotel and accommodate them so that they can shower properly and take care of their just needs. Make sure all our kids are fed and all our kids have the necessities of life for the next several days until this crisis resides. That's what we're operating in right now. So we're going to find somewhere to practice, find somewhere that can accommodate every darn thing that we need and desire to be who we desire to be, and that's dominant. The devil is a lie. You ain't gonna get us today, baby.
Yeah, man. We're gonna get into it regardless, though. No cap.
It's hot.
Can't lie, man. It's hot in here, bro.
It's hot.
I mean, Jackson, bro. That's just Jackson.
Man, we're gonna make it happen, man. We're trying to make a way for these kids to be able to take a shower, to be able to brush their teeth and stuff. The water is not going right now, man. It's all good, man. Minor setback for me.
I think that's a major setback. I have a lot of questions.
Go for it.
How do you not have water in a institution that arguably overcharges, right, for tuition? What's the issue? How is this community not having water?
Well, this college, it wasn't about them having a lot of money from tuition. It's about the fact that this college is an all-black college. That's a threat. It's a threat to all these big money colleges, because guess what's happened this year in the off season? In this off season, Jackson State University has taken 3 top players in the nation. 2 of those players left these Ivy schools and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go play for Deion. Okay. I don't care about being at an Ivy League school. Okay. I'm gonna go play at the black college." And he's building. So that's why when he came out and he said the devil is a lot. Look, that's powerful because he knows what's going on. He's trying to tell. Deion is trying to say
there's something
intentional.
About this.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Flint. How are we allowing communities in this country to be without the most basic necessity? I think there should be I never heard of this. Where's the news? Where's the outcry?
It just and I only got it because I've been following Jackson State on their Instagram. So Deion put this out today through their Facebook and Instagram.
Wow. Okay.
And so I was like, damn. So this is crazy. So I'm hoping to make this nationwide news. I hope a lot of people see the ugliness of this, because this isn't just about money. This is some people would consider this a race thing, because they're going to say, hey, they're trying to keep this black college down because they're supposed to be. But see, here's the thing, people, you don't realize when you make people like this, you make them even hungrier. When you start taking, what does that do usually?
It's gonna bring out the drive and the masses to call attention to whatever is causing this. If it's an injustice, if somebody or an institution or something systemic is happening here intentionally, it will be brought to light.
Right. And if you're a player, It's just gonna make you hungrier because you're gonna remember that when you couldn't brush your teeth because you're in the water. It's gonna make you hungrier when you go out there and play.
And all that more of a relish win when you win all the way. You get to tell an incredible story of resilience.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a crazy story. Tell a lot of people about it. Jackson State University without water is insane right now. It's insane that this is going on. Biden bombshells. Biden vacation time surpasses President Trump's and Obama at this time. But here's the spin, people. Don't get it twisted. Yes, Joe Biden has had more vacation time than other presidents, but people forget. Don't forget, President Biden had COVID twice. So he had to separate himself from people in the White House. So he had to go to where he usually stays twice for a minimum of those 10 days until he recovered. And that second time, it hit him worse than he had it the first time, if you guys remember. So you got to figure in those COVID, and if you figure in those 2 battles with COVID, it really isn't that bad. He really hasn't had that much vacation time. President Biden today was in Pennsylvania to push his Safer America plan to ban assault weapons. He makes a good point. I know the NRA and a ton of these gun people are saying that he's trying to take he said, I'm not trying to take away your rights. He's just saying that there is absolutely no reason why an 18 to 20-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and purchase a weapon that we give to our military to protect us in certain situations.
No need for this in the streets of America at all.
And you see that you've been, like I said, you've been involved with the community. You've seen gun violence, you know, and it's bad enough just getting your normal 9mm, your normal 45s off the street, you know, let alone, thank God, Brockton, knock on wood, we haven't had the type of things that we see in these other states and countries. You know, Connecticut being the closest of a tragedy, but you know, it's always been hard to get the guns off the street, let alone people buying legal guns.
Those kids who came from like Tennessee, remember that?
Yes.
They came to Brockton to try to sell some guns.
And they got caught, and 3 of those, they went to jail for a long time, if I remember correctly. So, good stuff. Anything you want to add to that on that?
Man, we got to get these guns off the streets. That's it. I mean, our youth, people are dying. It's a serious problem. We got to do better. I'm for it.
All right, so we're going to get this done. And Ukraine invasion, we're going to get ready to close out the booth tonight. Ukraine making a big push for Kherson. For those who don't know where this is down by the Black Sea. This is where Russia had blew up the bridges so they could take over their supplies coming in. Kherson is also the location of the nuclear plant that doesn't work, but it's a very strategic place that Russia's in. If the Ukraine can turn the tide and take back this strategic area, a lot of people are saying that this is going to be it for Putin.
Game changer. This
is the game changer right here. If they take this back and they take back that nuclear facility, Putin is done. A lot of people have said Putin. I'm going to ask my guys. I'm going to talk to them about it because my guys are right on it. Like I said, I've got a U.S. Army colonel retired, JAG officer, Robert Resnick. He'll be on. I'm going to ask him about this because this has already gone on longer. This is already a black eye to Putin. Putin should have been able to take the Ukraine like that, and it didn't happen. You know, it didn't happen. They made it real hard for him. It's a black eye. One of his allies' daughters was killed in an explosion that was meant for him. You know, that becomes time when, you know, if you're like Putin's boy, you're gonna be like, yo, man, now you costing me my family. You know, this is when tensions get tough between people. You know, you say, okay, I'm trying to back you, but okay, my family's dying over this. This ain't happening, bro. You know,
Time to reassess.
You know, and this is what happens here. So, you know, my prayers. I'm hoping Ukraine does this. I'm hoping they do make a big push. I hope they do get this turned over, and that's about it. Next week, my guys are coming on here. I got to thank everybody for getting the beanies and buying those out. But next week, people, NFL begins, so we're gonna have my guys on. Who you liking this year? Who you following?
Man, I'm New England all the way. I'm never gonna change that.
Yeah, I'm the same here. I'm the same here. But I'm looking to pay attention to that AFC West. I feel like the AFC West is going to be a super dog fight with all the changes. But again, Anybody who thinks that they're going to be able to predict who's going to the Super Bowl this year, you're lying. You're lying. There's been so many changes. There's been so many moves. There's been so many coach moves. There's been so many player moves. You got Josh McDaniels leaving the Patriots and going out there and coaching the Raiders. It's just insane what it's going to be like this year. I'm very ecstatic. My football fantasy draft is this Saturday. So, guys, if you're watching the show and you haven't got your fees in, get your fees in.
Get them in.
Or you ain't going to be able to draft on Saturday morning. You're going to be on the phone. Keith, why can't I draft my team? You can get your fees, and there's no excuse. Because now I take PayPal, I take Cash App, I take Venmo.
All right. Get them in.
Get them in. But again, I got to thank my guest, Angel, for coming on. Angel, please tell them why you're on here real quick again for.
Mutual Aid Brockton. Check us out on Facebook, Mutual Aid Brockton. We got a community refrigerator going. We're trying to feed the city, trying to create mutual supports. There's plenty to go around. We need you need us, and together we're stronger. Thank you for the invitation. It's been a pleasure. Beautiful night out here. I love it.
Nice. And I'm realizing why my light is going up and down. It's because the picture in the back that's moving. So every time it changes to a brighter picture, the camera adjusts for the light, and that's why it adjusts. So this is my first time doing this out here like this. See? Yeah. So now I know. Now I know what I got to do and keep that light going. But it's going to be a good time. I'm probably going to be able to maybe get a few more shows in here. Again, I've got this whole setup here. I'm going to be doing some movie nights with discussions. There's a military movie night that I want to show a film, and then we're going to have a discussion about how that movie makes people feel out here. So I might even invite you down.
I would love to come
because
down. Shout out to all the veterans.
Yeah, Oscar Mike Radio is doing a lot of stuff and talking about PTSD. And, as we all know, let's be real here. If it wasn't for veterans and PTSD and getting away from the chemical drugs, the legalization of marijuana, let's be real honest here. The reason why we have the legalization of marijuana on the medical level and recreational level is veterans. We suicides amongst veterans was horrible. It was a horrible number. We needed to bring it down. A lot of veterans are surviving daily and cohabiting their lives with us because of medicinal marijuana and now recreational marijuana. So again, people who are I hear knocking marijuana and stuff being legal, don't knock it. It's doing more. It's helping more people, including helping our veterans. I can't stress that enough. I hear it more and more and more each day. And the feds, let's go. It's at the next step to legalize federally. Let's go. Once it goes and becomes across the board, guess what's going to happen? A lot more people will get driving jobs and things of that sort because they won't be able to test for marijuana. The MLB, NBA, NFL have already all pretty much have dumped the testing of marijuana from professional sports. It's time for America to get in there. Now I'm hearing this thing about shrooms. And I've always heard about shrooms. I've never touched a shroom in my life, but I'm hearing that's the next thing coming for medical purposes, PTSD, seizures, and things of that sort. So it's getting crazy.
And then let's release those that are still incarcerated or who have charges.
How do we do that?
Because of
real
marijuana.
Quick, how do we do that? Because, like one person said to me, we got in this debate, and one person said to me, but they broke the law at that time, so they should serve. How do we do that?
Yeah, but Dr. King said an unjust law, right, is meant to be broken. I think if we have realized its benefits and we have changed our thinking, then we need to retro our thinking, because at the time it didn't cause. It's still the same drug, right? It's the same effects. Everything, we know what it does, what it doesn't do, and so we're not going to punish people because we now have made decisions based on whatever we based it on. It's now legal. So yeah, there's people suffering. It's not fair. I mean, you can argue with me, but free them.
You know, we got to get ready to get out of here. But my other thing is the hypocrisy of it all too, is that I drive to work all the way to Logan Airport on 93, and I see almost 90% of the billboards are recreational marijuana. It's insane. And
advertising.
It's all these towns that used to keep their noses up and would talk about, Brockton, you go there to get weed, and it's like Watertown is now. They're all advertising.
And all these places with dispensaries. Man, times are changing.
Legalize and not advertise. That's what Keith Murray said back in the day. But I want to thank Angel for coming on the show.
Thank you for the invitation, Keith.
Also, check out Veana Marie's latest project. It's personal. It's holding it down. It's killing everywhere. And you know what, guys? SpongeBob, it's a little after 8 o'clock. Do me a favor. Take us home.
Well, see you next Tuesday. Thank you for listening to The Booth on Hoobazoo and HatcherRadio.com. Please follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Booth is a Sinister One production hosted by Sinister One.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe a little more down in here. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I smoke, I drink, I do my thing. These bitches hating, so you know I got to make it plain. Don't do cocaine, but your chick, my main. We stick together, true forever, yeah, you know we bang. I miss those days, which was easy. If only I made it, bitch, don't repeat. Now that I done upgraded, I've been upstate, and y'all think I'm playing. And I got a hit now for these weak ass hoes who think I ain't slaying. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing, cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip, I don't need that shit, it's like I'm my own now. I get hurt, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything, I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
WHOOBAZOO, that's Hoobazoo.com.
Enter website, enter website, enter website, enter website.